about you, but I have never met anyone who has overtly said, my life goal is to be completely self-centered. It's all about me. The world revolves around. Now, you don't hear that really, do you? Can you move the slides on, please? That'd be great. No one ever puts that on a CV, do they? Brilliant at only thinking of myself. Have you ever heard that? Expert in me first thinking. Fluent in ignoring everybody else. And yet, let's be honest, it's very easy, isn't it, to live like that from time to time. Can you turn me down just a little bit, guys? Come on. That's good. You wake up and the first thought isn't usually, how can I be a blessing today? It's more like, why is my alarm clock attacking me again? Why is it morning so soon? But Jesus calls us to something radically different. He calls every single one of us to a life of serving, not self-serving. Jesus, you'll know, it was the ultimate servant. I'm going to start with him because it's always a good idea, isn't it? Mark 10 says, for even the Son of Man didn't come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many. Now think about that just for a second. Jesus, the Son of God, the one through whom everything was made, the whole universe is his throne, if you like. He didn't walk around saying, do you even know who you're talking to? Because some people do, don't they? It's usually head teachers in my day. Do you know who you're talking to? But there's an attitude, isn't there, that people carry. He didn't carry a clipboard and bark orders like a spiritual event planner. He stooped. He served. He took on a posture so different to most leaders and influencers today. You look at John 13 and you'll see he even washed feet. How gross is that? I've seen your feet. Well, not your feet. I've seen someone's feet in my day, I tell you, but I wouldn't want to wash or go anywhere near them. I'm so glad that he never intended us to do that, like he did communion and baptism. If you pop round to visit a friend, chances are nowadays you arrive quite clean, freshly showered. If you're young, you'll have used perhaps your Lynx Africa. Is that what's in at the minute? Or perhaps your Calvin Klein or Hugo Boss if you're a little bit sort of more middle-aged like myself. Nobody laughed at that. This is good. And if you're really a little bit older, then you will remember the days of Groot and Old Spice. Yeah? There's a few of you in. Oh my goodness. Do you know, even as teenagers, as girls, it was the in thing to spray yourself with Groot. I mean, what was that? Now, if you're really fortunate, you will have arrived in aircon, in a working car. And you arrive as the perfect smelling guest. But you know, in Jesus' day, you walked into somebody's house, you had walked there. You were walking in sweltering heat for many miles on dusty roads where donkeys and animals had clearly been before you. You know what I'm saying? You stink. The lowest servant in a house got to do the minging jobs like that. And it would be expected for them to welcome the guests and wash their feet before they kind of came into the house. It's a practicality. It was refreshment after a long walk and honouring of their guests, and a lot cheaper than slipper sharing, to be honest. So I have to tell you this, a homeless lady walked into our church once in Auburn many years ago. I was just a youngster. And with her wafted in the smell of, it wasn't Calvin Klein, it was odour dog poo, you know? And she walked it all the way down this beautiful royal blue carpet. Didn't go on any of the parquet flooring, right down the middle of the blue carpet. And after the service, it was a smelly service, to be brutally frank. After the service, a couple of folks, bless them, stayed behind to clean up the carpet. And my dad went over to chat to this lovely lady, and he asked her if she would mind if he cleaned her shoe for her. And she agreed. But when he took her shoe, he realised there was no sole in her shoe. She simply had walked in it and walked around in it. Her feet were covered in it. So he grabbed a towel and he grabbed some water, and there and then he washed her feet. A moment of humble service etched into my memory forever, folks. No show, no award, he just did it. I don't know how he did it, but he did it. But you see, Jesus, who owns the biggest title of all, who deserves the biggest throne of all, didn't look for title, didn't look for a throne, he picked up a towel. He chose humility, he bowed low, and he served his disciples in this way, a symbolic act, something which carried a greater spiritual meaning in that moment, and that no job is too menial to someone with the right heart attitude, and possibly a strong stomach, to be brutally frank with you. He's saying, get over yourself, serve one another. And he didn't stop at feet, let's face it. He welcomed children, he commissioned women, he fed the hungry, people who were second class in the society where he was living. And ultimately, he gave his life. He didn't just talk about serving, he lived it. Imagine Jesus today. I think he'd be like the chap at the end of the service who's helping to collect communion cups and stack chairs and the last one out almost putting the lights on, never mind having preached the sermon. He served. He didn't wait for the spotlights to find him. We're called, folks, to follow his example. Philippians 2:5, your attitude should be the same as that of Christ Jesus. So here's the thing. If Jesus serves, and if we follow Jesus, what does that make us? Servants. And not just when it's convenient, you know. We don't just get to say, I'll serve God right after I finish binge watching season 5 of Yellowstone. Anybody seen that? It's a bit gruesome, but it's amazingly captivating. Or I don't know, the Great British Bake Off, or the next 300 reels on my phone that I'll never remember I've watched, but I'll feel time because I have. No, we are saved to serve. You're not saved by serving, but you are saved for serving. You see, God had a plan for your life, for serving, before your first coffee this morning. Everyone can serve, can't they? Everybody can do something. Some people say, I'd love to serve, but I'm not really the platform type. For some of us, it was really hard coming up the front, wasn't it? Some of you didn't even want to put your hands up, and I get that. I would have been right where you're sat until Jesus kind of asked me to do this kind of thing. Totally get that. But we don't really need too many more stage stars. We need more talent carriers. Let me tell you though, without a servant heart, without knowing Jesus and loving their church family, no one gets to this far on the stage. These guys get to carry a note, but they also get to carry a towel. 1 Corinthians 12 says, now you are the body of Christ, and each one of you is a part of it. That means everybody has got a part to play, from the youngest to the oldest. And God isn't always looking for so much for ability, he's looking for your availability. I once heard someone say, God can't steer a parked car. Which made me panic at the time because my spiritual life felt like it was in neutral at the best. So what did I do? I started to help out. I started in after sixth form, I'd come along, a bit like what Rachel has done, but we didn't have that opportunity back then. But you know, I came and I helped out in the church, and after a long day in the bank, I started to help paint the church and help at the youth group. I'd just do the talk and let everybody else do the bits I wasn't sure about. I started to help with preparing communion. Lots of backstage stuff, because you weren't going to get me on stage. You'd have to pay me. But I did come to the point where I did it even before I got paid. You cannot do everything, but you can do something. Can you make tea? Can you smile at the door, John? Can you smile at the door? Pray with someone. There are things you can do. Mother Teresa said, do small things with great love. For me, do small things, at least with decent coffee. There you go. Why not? So just ask yourself, what does love require of me today? As I go to school, as I go to the office, as I head into church today, what small acts will leave that eternal impact wherever I go? You see, let me tell you something. Nothing done in love is wasted. Even the invisible things, God sees. He notices the things that are done. Matthew 10, if anyone gives a cup of cold water to the least of these, that person will certainly not lose their reward in heaven. Folks, even making a tea at church could count in heaven. That's what that verse is saying, basically, isn't it? Be the one who offers generously of your time, your treasure, your talents. I spoke to Steve Myerson this morning. And Graham, you may know, died recently. But he was a servant. He was a servant not of this church, he was a servant of Jesus in this church. Does that make sense? His membership here was 75 years. He was serving Jesus in this base of his home church for over 75 years. A servant. Graham's builder was at Graham's funeral service here just last week. And he wasn't a Christian. Never been in the church before, but do you know why he was here? Here's what he told me as we had a cup of tea afterwards. He said in recent years he'd been living on his own, and every Christmas day, wherever Graham was, he would phone this man to check that he was okay. He'd have a chat, wish him happy Christmas. That's a cup of water, isn't it? A moment of care and hope on a difficult day. Graham did that. He didn't talk about it, he didn't publicise it, he just served. Betty in her 80s phoned a handful of people in the church every week to see how they were doing. Penny offers her talent every week, creating and updating the church website. It's the shop window of the church in many respects in the 2020s. No title, no throne, no fanfare, no applause, chances are no certificate, just love. That is kingdom work that you and I are called to. We often think we have to do something big for God, don't we? But sometimes the most spiritual thing you can do is show up with a casserole. Let me give you my address now. And here's the twist, finally. Here's the twist. When you serve others, you grow. Now I know this can be abused. I know that we can get all served out. We have to have our boundaries in. And sometimes a willing horse and all of that, we've all been there. And that is part of the reason why you only see these guys up on stage twice a month. Because they need to be worshipping where you are too. They need time out. Each one of us, we want you to serve well. And we want you to love to serve well. But when you serve, you grow. Serving stretches you. Serving prepares you for your role within your community, your workplace. It deepens your faith. It connects you to others and makes you a great team player if you're willing to allow the Spirit to shape and to mould you. Galatians 5 says, serve one another humbly in love. You can't serve and stay selfish. You can't serve and stay shallow. When you serve, your serving takes you to the very heart of God. So if your spiritual life feels a bit stagnant, can I suggest stacking a few chairs? Not that we need, please don't stack these chairs as I have to stack them on Tuesday. But we're not asking you for help here today. We're asking you to consider how you serve in God's kingdom afresh. If you feel hard done by or low or ungrateful, come with me on a hospital visit. It's hard to complain about your problems when you're helping someone carry theirs. So here's my challenge as I close today. It's very simple. Where can you serve? Where are you serving? In your family, in your home, in your workplace, in your school. Great to hear what Rachel is involved in. Christian Union started at Grand Balfour. Brilliant, serving in school. Where can you serve? Not if, but where? In church, in family, in your community. Even in the traffic, yes, letting someone in who's just cutting you up and they're coming down the filter lane in and they've come past 300 million cars. That annoys me, does it you? And I really want to go bumper to bumper and bumper to, so they cannot get in. I wonder whether even letting someone in, my friend Mary, there's lots of gestures in cars at the moment, aren't there? when you get on someone else's nerves. She's taken to doing this. Somebody cuts her up, somebody's giving her this, that, and the other. She goes, I wonder if even letting someone in, a cutter in her, as I call them, as they merge into the traffic in front of us, maybe that is even an act of serving. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Start where you are. Start with what you have. Hear the voice of Jesus to you, because you are never more like Jesus than when you are serving other people. Imagine if everyone in this church walked in, not asking, and I realise there are times and seasons where we just need to get here. But imagine if in this church, people walked in, not asking what can I get, but what can I give? Not coming with a critique, but coming with a contribution. Not who will serve me, but who can I serve? Friends, that would change church, wouldn't it? And when the church changes, the community, the world changes. So let's look for the towel, folks, not the title or the front. Let's not just admire Jesus, let's follow him. Pick up the towel, right into the joy of serving him and serving one another. I think this is a great thing to do, don't you? It's lovely. But ultimately, I'm looking for his well done. His reward, eternity in heaven with him. If you don't know Jesus, if you don't know him, there's no reward. But I can tell you, if you do know him, it's bigger than any certificate you could ever put on your fridge. Eternity, forgiveness, a life with him now, and a life for eternity that no one can steal or take from you. Talk to us over coffee or over lunch today. We'd love to talk to you more about that.